CleopatraVII Philopator was born in 69 BCE into the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Greek family that ruled Egypt after Alexander the Great's empire fractured. Egypt, a kingdom rich in history and culture, was already in a period of internal turmoil when Cleopatra came to the throne. The Ptolemaic dynasty had long struggled with maintaining power and unity, facing constant infighting and threats from rival factions. As the eldest child of King Ptolemy XII, Cleopatra was raised with the knowledge that she would inherit the throne. From a young age, she was trained in diplomacy, language, and the arts of leadership, but even she could not have anticipated the extraordinary challenges that awaited her rule. Upon her father's death in 51 BCE, Cleopatra ascended to the throne alongside her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII, who was only a child at the time. The situation in Egypt was precarious, with political divisions running deep and Roman influence expanding in the Mediterranean. Cleopatra's reign was immediately threatened by powerful court advisors who wanted to control the throne and undermine her authority. The young queen found herself embroiled in a bitter struggle for power. Her brother, manipulated by those around him, soon became her rival, leading to her exile from the palace. Cleopatra was not the type of ruler to bow to adversity. Determined to regain her position, she employed a brilliant plan. Rather than relying solely on military might, she used her wit, charm, and strategic thinking. She had herself smuggled into the royal palace wrapped in a carpet, a bold move that ensured she would meet the powerful Roman general Julius Caesar, who had come to Egypt to settle a dispute involving the throne. This encounter would prove to be the defining moment in Cleopatra's life, both politically and personally. When Cleopatra met Julius Caesar, she was already a queen, yet she was determined to solidify her grip on power. The two were drawn to each other immediately, but their relationship was not purely romantic. Cleopatra understood that aligning with Caesar was a key to restoring her authority. Caesar, on the other hand, saw an opportunity to control Egypt and ensure Roman dominance in the region. It was a political partnership that transcended love. It was about power, survival, and the future of two mighty empires. Through Caesar's military support, Cleopatra successfully reclaimed the throne. She had her brother Ptolemy XIII removed from power, effectively ending his reign. Cleopatra became the sole ruler of Egypt, yet her challenges were far from over. Her relationship with Caesar cemented her position, but it also marked her as a target for those who saw her alliance with Rome as a threat. To strengthen her connection with Caesar, Cleopatra gave birth to his son, Ptolemy Caesar, known as Caesar Ion. This not only legitimized their relationship, but also gave Cleopatra the backing she needed to secure her throne. Cleopatra's time with Julius Caesar in Rome was as much about politics as it was about love. She visited Rome, where she became a symbol of Egypt's power and wealth. She was presented to the Roman public, a queen from a distant land, an exotic figure who was both revered and feared. Cleopatra's presence in Rome was a calculated move to secure her position and to remind the Roman elite of the immense value Egypt held. Yet, her time in Rome was brief, as Caesar's assassination in 44 BCE would soon throw both her life and Egypt's future into turmoil. In the aftermath of Caesar's death, Cleopatra faced a new set of challenges. Rome was plunged into civil war, with Caesar's assassins, the Senate, and his loyalists vying for control. Among them was MarkAntony, one of Caesar's closest allies and most skilled generals. Antony sought Cleopatra's support, knowing that her influence over Egypt could provide the leverage he needed to assert his power. Cleopatra, ever the political tactician, saw an opportunity to align herself with Antony, whose ambitions mirrored her own, the desire to secure power and influence at any cost. Cleopatra and Antony's relationship was not merely one of romance. Like her earlier alliance with Caesar, their union was based on mutual benefit. For Antony, Cleopatra represented an opportunity to expand his power and resources, while for Cleopatra, the alliance provided protection against Rome's growing influence. In 41 BCE, Cleopatra met Antony in Tarsus, a meeting that would spark both a political and personal bond. Antony was captivated by Cleopatra's intelligence, beauty, and political astuteness. Their connection was immediate, and soon they formed a powerful partnership. Together, Cleopatra and Antony set about securing their positions in the East. Cleopatra provided Antony with military support, and in return, Antony granted her additional territories in the Roman East, consolidating Egypt's power. In 37 BCE, they had 3 children together, further strengthening their bond and their influence over the region. Cleopatra's role as a mother and queen was vital. Her children symbolized the future of the Ptolemaic dynasty, and Antony's recognition of their legitimacy ensured Egypt's continued independence from Rome. However, their alliance would not go unchallenged. As Antony and Cleopatra grew closer, the rivalry between Antony and Octavian, Caesar's heir, intensified. Octavian, whose political maneuvering would eventually make him the first emperor of Rome, saw Antony's growing ties with Cleopatra as a direct challenge to his ambitions. The relationship between Antony and Cleopatra became the subject of Roman propaganda, which painted Cleopatra as a seductress who had ensnared one of Rome's greatest generals. This portrayal was used by Octavian to rally public sentiment against them, portraying their alliance as a threat to Roman power and the sanctity of Rome's traditions. In 31 BCE, the rivalry between Antony and Octavian culminated in the Battle of Actium, a naval confrontation in which Octavian's forces decisively defeated those of Antony and Cleopatra. The defeat marked the beginning of the end for Cleopatra's reign. Although Antony and Cleopatra attempted to regroup in Egypt, their fate was sealed. The loss at Actium had not only diminished their military strength, but also shattered their political credibility. Their enemies were closing in, and the fall of Egypt seemed inevitable. The last months of Cleopatra's life were filled with desperation. As Octavian's forces marched towards Alexandria, Cleopatra and Antony were left with little hope. The two lovers, now broken by the weight of their defeat, chose to end their lives rather than face capture and humiliation. While the exact circumstances of their deaths are unclear, the general consensus is that Cleopatra and Antony both committed suicide in 30 BCE. Cleopatra is said to have allowed herself to be bitten by an asp, an act that will become the symbol of her tragic end. With Cleopatra's death, Egypt was absorbed into the Roman Empire, and the Ptolemaic dynasty came to an abrupt and sorrowful end. Cleopatra's children were captured, and her kingdom, once a powerful and independent force in the Mediterranean world, was no more. Octavian's victory marked the beginning of the Roman Empire, and Cleopatra's legacy would be shaped by the empire's future rulers. Despite her tragic end, Cleopatra's legacy endures, not merely as a lover or seductress, but as a queen and a leader of extraordinary intelligence and ambition. Her ability to navigate the complexities of Roman politics and form strategic alliances, both personal and political, made her one of the most remarkable women in history. Cleopatra was a ruler who understood the importance of diplomacy and the art of political survival, and she fought relentlessly to preserve Egypt's sovereignty against overwhelming odds. Cleopatra's intellectual brilliance was often overshadowed by the myths surrounding her beauty and relationships. She was highly educated, fluent in multiple languages, and deeply committed to preserving Egypt's ancient traditions while also engaging with the political currents of the Roman world. Her reign saw advancements in science, culture, and trade. She revitalized Egypt's economy and infrastructure, ensuring its prosperity during a time of great instability in the Mediterranean world. Her relationship with Julius Caesar and MarkAntony, while deeply personal, was primarily driven by political necessity. Cleopatra used her charm, intellect, and political acumen to navigate the treacherous waters of Roman politics. She understood that alliances with powerful Roman leaders were essential for Egypt's survival, and she was willing to do whatever it took to maintain her kingdom's independence. Her leadership was marked by pragmatism, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to her people. In the centuries that followed Cleopatra's death, her story became one of legend. She was romanticized as a femme fatale, a seductive queen who captivated the hearts of two of the most powerful men in Rome. Yet, this image of Cleopatra is a distortion of her true legacy. Cleopatra was not just a lover or a symbol of exotic Leo. She was a skilled and visionary leader who navigated a turbulent political landscape with grace, intelligence, and resilience. Cleopatra's story is one of tragedy, ambition, and resilience. Her life was marked by personal and political battles, and she ultimately paid the price for her defiance of Rome's growing power. But her legacy as a queen, lover, and leader endures, a testament to her extraordinary abilities and her determination to secure the future of Egypt, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds.